Hey, this is Sal Cangeloso from Geek.com, and I'm here with a number of different smartphones. I just want to do a quick look at the hardware, just so we can kind of get an informal feel for each of the devices and their size and kind of swipe speed and that sort of material, that sort of stuff. We talk a lot about the hardware inside the phone, about the Snapdragon 801 and 2 gigabytes of this, but it's not often that we get a chance to kind of put them next to each other and kind of get a real feel for what's happening with each device. Just to run down the list, I'm sure most people know this already, but we have the OnePlus One, the HTC One M8, Samsung Galaxy S5, the Nexus 5, and iPhone 5. iPhone 5 will be our standard for the iPhone 5S. The displays are active right now and they're fully powered up, so you can kind of get a look for what everything looks like by default. I guess the angle might not be ideal for every phone, but you can get a pretty good idea of what you're looking at. Also now we could take a look at the size. The OnePlus One is clearly the largest of the devices. It's not a huge difference compared to the M8 or the S5, but they're pretty close. Then the Galaxy S5 and the HTC One M8 are pretty comparable. The M8 is not quite as wide, but it's taller than the GS5. Nexus 5 is a little bit smaller than that, and finally we have the iPhone 5 on the end, which is really dwarfed by these devices. Display quality, I'll kind of let everyone decide for themselves. It's not really something you could tell using this sort of setup or a camera like this or a YouTube video, but everyone's going to have their own preference. Personally, I like the GS5, but just me, I know a lot of people prefer the M8, and then I'm sure some people would prefer the OnePlus, so we'll just decide somewhere in the comments probably. Then just to flip it over, take a quick look at the hardware itself. Sorry, ignore the gaffer's tape, that's just covering up some of our tracking, so we keep track of which device is which. And then so the OnePlus One has it's a smooth plastic. It's a removable back, which is nice, but the quality of the back I wasn't really thrilled with. It feels fine in your hand. It is a large device. There's no getting around that. It is wide and it's quite tall. The case itself is a plastic material. It's a little bit slippery, but nothing to complain about. You can see the button placement is pretty far down, which takes a little bit getting used to, but you probably wouldn't be able to reach it if it was higher up anyway. HTC One M8 is really, at least from the hardware perspective, it's going to be the standout for most people. It's got that hairline aluminum material. It's whether you like it more than the original HTC One is going to be up to you, but it is definitely a beautiful finish, and it's held up well over the past couple of weeks that we've been using it. It's got the boom sound speaker and that sort of extra area for the bezel, which we've all heard a fair bit about. And the device is a reasonable size, definitely not small, but it's not like it feels gargantuan when you're carrying it around. Then we have the kind of softer, grippier, but I wouldn't quite say grippy, plastic of the GS5 with its band-aid pattern there. Got a bit of a camera hump, or bump, whatever you want to call it, which we've seen some people complain about. This one, it's a really, phone feels nice and light. It feels, for a larger Android phone, this is definitely a phone that feels just right to me. But again, it's just my preference. I don't mind the metal band around the side. I've heard some complaints around that. And then this phone is water and dust resistant, unlike the other ones. So you can see the power connection is covered, which that would get annoying over time. But the fact that you could splash this thing with water or get some dust on it is pretty cool. On the whole, this backplate is the easiest to remove, which I think is really great if you do swap out your battery or have to get out your SIM card or anything like that. Only the One and the S5 have removable backplates. The other ones are fixed. Then we have the Nexus 5, which is not a phone that really stood out for its hardware. Gets the job done, and I like it more than most people. It's got a nice soft touch material, but it's not really a standout, especially at this point. And then everyone knows about the iPhone 5 and the 5S, so don't even have to get into that. And then that covers most of what I wanted to do right here. I think people probably, if you can, leave a question or a comment at the video. And at this point, I think we have a pretty good idea of what the relative hardware is like, kind of a little bit about the displays and all that. So yeah, this is Sal Congeloso from Geek.com. Thanks for watching.